Hey everybody, it's Tiffany from Quilter's Workshop, and today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 tips for doing craft shows. I thought it was the perfect time of year to do it because I just finished my biggest show of the year that I normally do, which is my 3-day show, and I have another show coming up very soon. So I just thought it would be the perfect time. Plenty of you are probably also getting ready for craft shows, or maybe you're thinking about doing craft shows for next year, and maybe you're kind of going around and checking some of them out. So my first tip, sorry, I have my notes over here on my computer. So my first tip is to research. And for someone who has never done a show before, or maybe you're the first time, or it's your first time doing a show in a particular area, and you're not really sure how your product's going to do, you really need to talk to other people who've been in the show, or talk to the person organizing the show. Ask if there's already someone selling a similar product. Ask if people have sold a similar product in the past, how they've done. Ask how the traffic is. Ask how the vendors thought that the organizers did running the show. Did they do a good job communicating with you? Did they organize well? Did they have lots of advertising? I think that's really important. If the people organizing the show aren't doing a good job, then it's absolutely impossible, no matter what your project is, to be successful at that show. I find that I do better at shows that have a little bit more into them. So shows that I pay more money to be in, the advertising is going to be better, the setup's going to be cleaner. It's just going to be a nicer event, so I feel like I do well. But maybe that might not be the case for everyone, so maybe try some more inexpensive shows, try some more, like, slightly more expensive shows. See how it goes. I'm going to be trying a show for the first time in Scarborough, and I've never done a show further west of where I already am. So I'm just starting out with a show that's not costing me very much money for the booth, just to see how I do. And if I do well, then I will invest in a more expensive booth, and so on. So my second tip is to set up your booth at home first. So if you have your contract for your craft show that you signed up for, and it says that you're given a 5x5 booth, or a 5x8 booth, or 8x10, or whatever it is, you need to mark that down on your carpet or your flooring or whatever, and you need to set it up. You need to use your tables, you need to get your banners out, you need to make sure that everything works before you get there, especially if you're traveling a far distance and you're unable to zip home to grab something. You need to make sure that everything that you're planning on doing works, it's nice, and then that way when you go to the show, you're a lot less stressed out about setting up your booth because you already know exactly what you're going to do, you know exactly where everything goes and how it goes together. My third tip is price tags. Always, always, always make sure that every single item has a price tag on it. Even if you have, let's say, 15 of one item and 8 of them have price tags. What if you sell all of the ones that had price tags and you forgot to take the price tags off to move to the next item? It's just so much easier while you're there. Make sure everything is priced before you get it to the show, and then you don't even have to worry about it. And it's also really important to include your company name on the price tag, because if you, some vendors choose to take the price tag off when the person is buying it so they can reuse the price tag, or if you leave it on, that's up to you. But if you do leave it on and that person leaves on the tag to, like, give to a friend or whatever, they will remember and know the name of the business that they bought it from. Now, the fourth tip that I have is to make sure that you have a cash box and make sure that you have enough change, because there's nothing worse than running out of change in the middle of the show. And as well, it is something to look into if you are selling items that might be a little bit more expensive. A lot of people like the convenience of being able to pay with Visa or MasterCard. So I have the Square Reader. So basically it's a free app on your phone. I believe the device itself is only like $10 to have it ordered to you. And it just goes into where your earphones go on the top of your phone, and you can swipe Visa and MasterCard through here. I live in Canada, so they haven't been able to release like the usage of debit yet with Square, but I think that in the States they're allowed to now use debit. But you could check on their website because I'm not entirely sure. But this is perfect. Like, it's so small. I keep it in my cash box so that I don't forget it when I go to a show. And then you do need internet or data access on your phone to accept the payments. But it's basically a direct deposit. So when someone purchases something, it usually takes like 2 to 3 business days, and then those funds will be in your bank account, and the customer actually can input their email address or their cell phone number to receive like a text message or an email from Square letting them know that their payment went through. So that's really handy. And the very last tip that I have for craft shows is to overstock if possible. So you definitely don't want to go to a show, especially if it's a 2 or 3 day show, and then run out of stuff and not be able to have enough time in between your days to come home and remake it or restock. So if you're selling food, that kind of doesn't really apply, but if possible, bring more than what you need, because if you have some extra, who knows, maybe you might be able to contact someone last minute and say, you know, like, I have some more stock left over from my other show. Can I please, is there any other booths available to get into a different show that you're thinking about doing? That's always useful. Or you can save it for another craft show in the spring or even next Christmas. It doesn't really matter. So usually when I'm preparing for a really big show, people ask me how long it takes me to get ready for a show. I never stop getting ready. I work on the stuff for my show all year round, especially during the summer. If I can get like 2 or 3 evenings a week to just pump out stuff, just make it. And then that way you're not rushing at the last minute and it's not stressful, because I think doing a craft show should be just as enjoyable for you as it is for all of the people who are shopping there, and you're not going to have fun if you're stressed out about not knowing how your booth is going to go together, not sure if you have enough stuff. So just try and prepare as much as you can in advance. So especially like for this year, don't try and rush into a show if you don't think you have enough stock. Maybe just attend shows as a vendor, see what's around, and then if you're at a show and you think that there's nothing really there similar to your product and it's something you'd be interested in doing, contact those people that are organizing that event, because they'll likely be the same people organizing it next year. And then that way you will be first in line and you'll be first to know when the contracts come out, because most of the booths, you do pay for them like the year before. So those are my top 5 tips on how to prepare for a craft show. I'm sure there's loads of other things that I could mention, but I wanted to keep the video as short as possible. But if you have any tips that you would like to share, you could leave a comment down below. And yeah, if anyone has any other questions or comments, you can send me an email at quilters.workshop@gmail.com. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.